Hello, everyone. Ron Gerber with Angelbeat. I'm so excited to bring you Han Tran, who is one of the top solutions architects with AWS. Han focuses on non-profit financial services organizations. Now, when Han told me her title, I started thinking, well, I don't really associate the word nonprofit with banks, with investment firms, with insurers. But then as I was speaking with Han, I realized that when you think about all the credit unions, all the employee or union pension funds that are all within this scope of nonprofit financial services, these entities control tens, if not hundreds of trillions. That's T as in trillions of dollars, and they need lots of help. So Han, why don't you share a little bit about your background? I think it's fascinating, and how you came to join AWS, and maybe you could share a little bit about the TechU concept that really made AWS a great place for you to join.
Yeah, definitely. So I've been with AWS now for a little bit over 4 years, and I've worked specifically with just public sector customers. Right now, I'm on the nonprofit team. Before that, I was working with state and local government customers. But through the entirety of my 4 years at AWS, this has been my very first job out of college. TechU, you alluded to AWS TechU. AWS TechU is a program that helps new grads come in, and they train you to become solutions architects. The management back in the day saw that, hey, to be a solutions architect, you need both the technical skills and the soft skills. And they weren't really finding a lot of people in industry like that. So they wanted to cultivate and build their own program. And thus TechU has now grown globally. There's so many different cohorts. There's lots of different members now that have actually been through the program. So that's a little bit about my background and how I got to this point here.
Got it. Now, you said you focus on, as of today, credit unions, pension funds, et cetera. We know COVID has hit so many financial services firms heavily. They've struggled. There's all kinds of stock market volatility, people concerned about their money, overwhelming contact centers. Maybe you could describe some of the major things that AWS has done in this particular industry and why it's proven so beneficial to them.
Yeah, definitely. COVID has hit all industries the same, but with credit unions and financial services in general, I've talked to many customers about this in the past year or so. The first one you kind of alluded to was a contact center. People are the consumers or the members need to call in to check their bank statements. They need to know when their money is coming. So our financial services customers are seeing a high volume of calls coming in, and there's no way for them to actually handle that because they have these legacy on-premises call center or telephony services that's been around for a long time or paying really expensive licensing. And so we show them, hey, there is a service called Amazon Connect, and I've shown them multiple reference architectures, demos, proof of concepts to show them like you can take this exact solution and it will scale for you automatically on AWS with a fraction of the price.
So I would imagine one of the benefits is, again, a lot of the customers, users of these credit unions, pension funds, very concerned about their assets with so much volatility. And you could see these organizations just getting overwhelmed. I'm also curious if there's benefits as organizations look at AWS, because when you look at some of the IVR systems in the past, there's some standalone automated system for doing that for customers coming in, then there's people on the website. There's all these standalone vendors having good solutions. One of the things I've heard from a lot of organizations in financial services and quite elsewhere is they really like the power of AWS in providing a single platform that everyone can understand how to manage their AWS console, because then as they're deploying solutions like AWS, you're saying the contact center, I think it's AWS Connect.
Yes.
As you're able to deploy that, there's a similar methodology, user interface to what they're doing with AWS Connect. In a similar sense, I'm curious if a lot of your customers are grappling with on-prem versus cloud solutions. So if they might be looking at something like the AWS on-prem solution, I think it's Outpost, correct? Where you can deploy AWS on an on-prem solution for organizations who have these older legacy systems. I'm also curious, you can talk about the on-prem, but having that functionality or that same experience with AWS, it's got to make it a lot easier for these organizations to know that the AWS engine can be deployed in many different areas just to help them manage their whole infrastructure.
Yeah, I'm going to touch point on a little bit of everything you've said there, right? So we have 200 plus services now on AWS, and one of the services is AWS Outpost, which we would ship our physical infrastructure down to the customer's data center. So there's a lot of different options for implementing on-premises solutions and the cloud as well. And I see that a lot of our financial services customers would like to see a hybrid solution. They usually tend to go through the hybrid solution before they go all cloud. And so we've, as solutions architects, we like to architect out the entire picture, not just, we don't really just focus on the cloud. We want to focus on, hey, how does the solution work for your legacy on-premises solutions? Does this translate over to the cloud? And how do we make this a true hybrid environment for you? And how does this work for you?
I think it was interesting because we know in the past and in many Angelbeat seminars, we've had individuals who have a title Cloud Solution Architect or CSA, and there are many people who do that. It was interesting where you mentioned, well, we really view ourselves as solutions architects precisely for that reason. We are focused on a customer-centric solution.
Yes.
We'll include the cloud. We'll inevitably include some on-prem solutions and work with them so it can be the most effective from their perspective, most importantly.
Yeah, at Amazon, we're customer obsessed, right? So if there is a solution that works for the customer and they want to continue using that, there's no point in trying to force them to navigate to something else on AWS. If that's something they're used to, something that they want to continue using, there's no point in forcing them to. So we try to make it work, right? So if they want a permanent hybrid solution, there's solutions that can help them do that.
I would also, or I'm curious about the whole labor shortage of qualified technical staff. And imagine especially some of the smaller credit unions are competing with fintech startups or competing with the banks and others. And I would imagine if I'm the IT director, CIO for one of these regional credit unions, I might embrace AWS because as I look at using your services, I may have a little bit of a trade-off. Well, I do want to become more flexible, become more agile. What are my options? Can I hire people? Can I train them? Can I get them up to speed? Can I then retain them, not just hire them? Versus, do I then rely upon AWS and free up my existing staff from a lot of the tedious operational day-to-day stuff, for lack of a more technical term? And I would imagine some of your clients might welcome the support of AWS because they're under a lot of pressure. Credit unions are competing against the world's most sophisticated banks. And I would think the great thing about AWS is, look, you have access to exactly the same thing as the local Seattle credit union, as Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Chase, Citibank. You've got access to everything exactly the same.
Yes, you are 100% correct. We treat our smaller regional credit unions just the same as these larger banks, all the same. When you become an AWS customer, you will be assigned an account team where there will be a solutions architect, there will be an account executive, and we will help you through your entire journey on AWS. Now, you asked, or you kind of touched point on how do we get these smaller financial services customers onboarded with AWS, and there are a lot of different ways. One of the ways is just AWS.training, where we have an immense portfolio of training available that's free for our customers online. We have certifications, trainings, just online, ready for them to use whenever. And also we have an extensive partner portfolio as well, third-party partners that are ready to help and are ready to build with our customers, and as well as AWS professional services. But we are there as the account team. So your solutions architect, your account executive, we're there to guide you through the entire journey from zero to hero on AWS. And we have these partners, we have these third-party partners, we have AWS professional services, and we have training and certification right there to back them up too.
Yeah, I love that expression. I wish I had thought of that before. Zero to hero.
Yep.
I will also tell you on a similar note, we've seen so many Angelbeat attendees after coming to our events tell me, Ron, I'm so glad I attended. I recognized where the industry is going. I had to change my career path. Based on that, I've succeeded. I remember one individual, and it ties into what you're saying about career. He thought, this is like about 12 years ago, he thought he had the most secure job in the world because his job was every Tuesday going around individually to computers in his big corporate office and deploying patches manually on each computer. Now, that's the way it was. And then he went to an Angelbeat seminar about 12 years ago, and he sends me great emails saying, Ron, I owe you so much. He went to Angelbeat, recognized, I think this cloud is happening more and more. And I think a lot of these applications are just going to be driven out from the cloud. Endpoints are going to be centrally managed. And maybe my job security that I thought I had and I could coast a little bit, maybe that's not so certain. So he went to Angelbeat, recognized that it had to become more of a strategic architect, trying to figure out secure remote access, trying to figure out security paradigms for giving remote users flexibility. And it just totally jump-started his career. So for any of you listening to this, we encourage you to follow Han and her team. If you're in financial services, great. While she focuses on nonprofits, she has colleagues. She's based there in AWS headquarters #1 in Seattle. She has probably hundreds, if not thousands, of colleagues across the world who can help you if you work for one of the largest banks, or if you work for one of the smaller credit unions, the Amazon can still help you. And I think, especially for credit unions who may find themselves under more competitive pressures with so many of the banks touting, well, you can now, like, I haven't been to an ATM in like a year or so once I realized that I could deposit checks through my smartphone app. And so when you look at that, the smaller entities may feel some pressure, and we encourage all of you to follow up with Han, because this is how you will stay competitive and provide equal amounts of capabilities from a technology standpoint as to the big banks, but you're also going to be able to offer the same services and not better.
Yes.
How'd I do? Am I ready to maybe, if all else fails at Angelbeat, I should sign up for TechU, or maybe I can get through it in 3 months, not 6?
Yeah, you were solid. That was awesome. You're like able to think on the spot. That was great.
Okay. Well, again, what's really great is we encourage people to follow up with Han and her team just so you can make informed decisions. One of the things we're always trying to do at Angelbeat is make sure all of you out there have the insights that you need to make informed decisions. Everyone needs to be more cloud-oriented. Everyone who's an end user is grappling with challenges of hiring staff. The great thing, and I always advocate this at our events, is when you learn about this and deploy the solutions that we advocate or help promote at either our regular structured Angelbeat events or more informal programs like this, it will absolutely help your organization become more flexible, more agile, more secure, all those good things. But it will absolutely help you become a more successful professional, if not executive. And it's really in your own, quite honestly, personal financial self-interest to take advantage of these things to make sure you do the best you can. And Han and her team are ready, willing, and able to assist. Yes. All right, well, great. Well, Han, I look forward to meeting you in person when we're in Seattle, or if you're somehow able to visit me at one of our Angelbeat live events. And this was very fascinating. It's great to hear the things that AWS is doing to build its own workforce, TechU. By the way, if anyone has any sons, daughters, or other gender descriptions who are graduating college, the great thing about applying for AWS TechU is your kid can, like my kid's going to college, I'm thinking, well, let me see, in 4 years, how cool is this? They can work for AWS and you get paid for 6 months while you get immersed in AWS knowledge and expertise. And I think that's one thing that Han, maybe you could comment on, is how AWS TechU is such a great resource, even if you're not a computer engineering, electrical engineer like yourself. Yes. And how AWS is really open for all individuals as long as they're committed to learning. And
Yes.
as you said, being obsessed about customers.
Yes, another one of our leaderships is learn and be curious. So as long as you show that you can learn and you're curious, it doesn't matter what major that you chose to major in. People switch all the time from a non-technical position or a non-technical field into a technical field. As long as you can learn and be curious, we will definitely consider.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Again, if people have questions, you can always go to hashtag Angelbeat. We'll absolutely put you in touch with Han. You can, if you go to hashtag AWS, it may not get to Han as quickly as going to hashtag Angelbeat. But if you have any questions, maybe it's easier to come through me and we'll filter it to make sure you get the follow-up you need. Thank you so much, Han. This was great.
Thank you so much, Ron.